Hello everyone, my name is Katie, I'm the Introverted Reader, and today is going to be my September wrap-up. Now I know that September is not quite over yet, but I mean it's only 2 days left in the month and I don't really plan on finishing any more books within 2 days. I'm not that good. So I'll just start off because I have a lot of books to get through. The first one that I want to talk about I read on my Kindle, and it's a book called The Beast's Heart. The name of the author has since escaped me, but you can look it up on Goodreads. It's called The Beast's Heart, and it's basically a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but from the Beast's perspective. Now, overall, I give this book 3 stars, mostly because I just... like, the Beast wasn't angry enough in it for me. Like, the sole reason he was turned into a beast in the first place was because he was a horrible human being. He had a raging temper. He didn't treat anyone around him with any kindness whatsoever. And the sole reason that the Enchantress did what she did was just like, I'm going to turn you into the most horrible, ugly thing in the entire world. And if you can find someone that loves you, even when you look like that, I'll turn you back. But it just didn't seem that way. It almost seemed as if she turned him into that simply because she could, or just like simply because he was his father's son or something. Like, he just, to me, in my mind, he didn't seem overly deserving of what happened to him. Like, I did not, like, I wasn't reading it and thinking, oh, you're a terrible person, you deserve this. Like, I was thinking maybe, oh, poor guy, but then maybe that was the author's intention, but there just wasn't enough anger in it for me. And whenever, like, the Belle, her name is Isabeau, whenever she was introduced in it, for the, like, obviously the Beauty and the Beast story that we know, the Beast was kind of a dick to Belle for quite a wee while before the two of them formed their friendship. And again, not enough in it for me. So overall, I give it 3 stars. I will give a trigger warning for attempted suicide in this book. There is a character that attempts to take their own life. If anything to do with that is triggering for you, maybe this book is not for you. Or if you do decide to be brave and read it, do so at your own discretion. I read a lot of manga as well this month. I read volumes 4 all the way through to 10 of The Demon Prince of Momochi House by Aya Shoto. And this is basically a series about this girl who inherits this house from her dead parents, but she gets there only to find that there is this mysterious boy living there. And she finds out that the house is actually on the borderline between our world and the spirit world. And it's this boy's job, this beautiful boy right here, to basically keep the spirits from the spirit world from coming into the human world and wreaking havoc and whatnot. Overall, I would give what I read a good 4 stars. I really like the way the plot is going. I really do like the characters. It's really, really sweet. It's fun. And if you're into like shoujo manga or anything like that, I would highly recommend this series. And I am excited to carry on with it. I don't know when I'm going to, but maybe I'll do another manga challenge, maybe. So, the first like physical book that I finished this month was our Introverted Reader Book Club Pick of the Month, and that was Empire of Sand by Tasha Suri. Again, I gave this book 3 out of 5, mostly because the plot, for me, really dragged. Like, there was a lot of times I was very bored during my experience of reading this. I was not a fan of the romance. I did think that the two did definitely strike up a good friendship with each other, but I just wasn't feeling the like love between them, if you know what I mean. Like, I knew that the two of them cared for each other, that much was evident, but it's basically about this girl called Mare, and she is a descendant of this tribe of people that have since been eradicated, and any of them that are still around are labelled as heathens and barbarians, and she is treated with a lot of scrutiny and hatred even in her own house, you know, like from her stepmother, because her birth mother only stuck around for a while and didn't even marry her father, so her and her sister are not legitimate. And her mother had like since ran away, so she doesn't even know if her mom's alive or dead or not. And in that I felt bad for her, but just overall I just wasn't really feeling the plot. I did get bored a lot, but I am happy that I finished it. But again, I just wasn't really a fan of the plot or like the romance or anything, but it was still a good time. I'll give a warning for like violence against women, because our main character does get physically beaten up quite a few times, so just be wary of that when you're reading it. One of the audiobooks that I listened to this month, I listened to 3 audiobooks this month. Like, I just love listening to them now when like I'm going to and from work. And one of them that I listened to was Viper by Bex Hogan. This is the first in a fantasy trilogy. Basically about this girl called Marianne, and she is the daughter of the Viper. And basically the Viper's job is to protect the 12 Isles. Now, she's been living on this ship for like her entire life, and the Viper is just a terrible, terrible human being. The rest of the crew are awful. She maybe only has 1 friend. Oh no, 2 friends. Well, actually, she used to have 2, but then one of them started not speaking to her, and she never understood why. There's a lot of angst in this, and there's just, oh my goodness, there's so much violence in this book, like a lot of really, really graphic violence. So if I were you, I would be very wary before picking this up. But overall, I really, really love this story. I loved how political it got, like, because the Viper is supposed to be the protector. You know, like, he's supposed to be, like, be out there on the high seas protecting the kingdoms and whatever. And when it turns out that he's not who he is supposed to be, or he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, it unleashes this whole like political war, and it's really, really good. I really did like the main character. Honestly, see, when I was listening to this, the narrator of this almost had me in tears, because there's a lot of sad moments in here. And yeah, like I was like walking through the city centre, like just like trying to hold in tears at certain parts of this book, because it did get really sad. So be wary of that as well. But overall, I would give Viper 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Now, the next book I want to talk about, none of these are in order, by the way. I read this physically, and that was Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is a young adult science fiction story about this group of misfits that accidentally get grouped together to like form a squad. One of them is Tyler. He is a star pupil at the Aurora Academy, and he accidentally misses the draft to pick out his squad because he gets this distress call from this derelict ship, and he finds this girl in cryostasis, and she is still alive, unlike everyone else in her crew. So he rescues her, and only for her to wake up and realize that she is 200 years in the future, and she doesn't really remember anything. She just remembers getting on the ship, and she's just like, where am I? Who am I? Like, what's happening? What's going on? And it just sort of all unfolds from there. I don't really want to give too much away, because if you've read the Illuminae files by these 2 authors, you know they love to keep things, you know, like, oh, they don't really like to give too much away when it comes to like plot and stuff. Like, I was just so shocked, like, throughout the entirety of this book, and just being like, oh my god, like, just like wanting to scream and shout and just be like, yes, yes, like, it's so good. If you haven't read anything by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, like, get this, or get the Illuminae files like right now. Like, so just read this, because it's amazing and it's wonderful, and I love these characters so much. Like, they're a bunch of misfits, but they form this amazing, wonderful bond, and it's just so sweet. Love it. 4 out of 5 stars for Aurora Rising. The next 2 books I'll talk about, because they are part of a duology. I listened to both of these on audiobook as well, and that was Onyx and Ivory and the sequel Shadow and Flame, which I immediately bought after finishing this, both by Mindy Arnett. This is a high fantasy story about this girl called Kate, and she has been branded a traitor because her father tried to assassinate the king, and obviously he was not successful. He was trialed and executed for his crime, and since then Kate has been living with the repercussions of her father's actions ever since. There is a lot more to the story than just that. Like, it starts off with that, and Kate is just out here trying to live her life. She loves horses because her father was like master of horses before he was killed. And it's just, and like our other main character, Corwin, who is the prince, and the 2 of them were like in love when they were teenagers, because Kate used to live in the palace with her father and everything, and he has to go through all these different trials before he can become the king, and there's this whole political war between non-magic people and people that can use magic, and it's just so good. Like, I think I gave this 4 out of 5 on Goodreads, but in my heart I gave it 5. Like, these were phenomenal, and if I could recommend a duology to anyone, it would be these 2 right here. I'm a little bit miffed that this is hardcover and this is paperback, but we love floppy paperbacks, so I'm gonna keep it, but like would highly recommend these. I might read the other two books that Mindy Arnett has written, the sci-fi ones, Avalon, and I can't remember the other one was called, but Onyx and Ivory, Shadow and Flame, amazing. I finished Shadow and Flame last night and I was almost in tears. It was just And the next two I want to talk about, the last two, are part of a trilogy as well. I read the first one a few months back, and that was Fireblood and Nightblood by Ellie Blake. This is a young adult fantasy series about this girl called Ruby, who in a land full of frost is a fireblood, and at the start of the story she has to hide her gift, but then come the second one she has come a little bit further and more people know about who she is. I don't want to give too much away, but like overall I adored this. I adore the characters. I thought the plot was really, really good. I mean, they're not perfect, but sometimes you just need some good old fashioned young adult angst to get yourself through the day. And I just remembered I forgot about a book. It's over on my shelf. It's over there. The Exiled Queen by Cinda Williams-Chima I read as well this month. I'm so bad I forgot to pick it up before I started filming, but it's over there. I read that this month. 3 out of 5 I gave it. I don't know if I'm going to continue on with the Seven Realms series or not. I may or may not. Oh, and I also forgot as well. I'm so bad. This is why I should film more often. But another book another audiobook actually that I listened to this month, never mind 3, I listened to 4, and that was The Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. I had it on my Kindle, but then I was just like, nah, I'll listen to it via audio. So I listened to it. I gave it 3 out of 5 as well. You know, I might continue on with that series, but we shall see. See, that's the reason I forgot about those two, because they just weren't that great. They didn't stick out in my head. But that is it. That is my September wrap-up. I read over 17 books, it seems. So yeah, that's it. That's all the books I read. So I'm going to end this video here. Thank you so much for watching. My Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads will be down below. If you want to follow me on any of them, feel free. If you want to join us for the Introverted Reader Book Club, feel free. I tweet about it a lot on Twitter. Well, there is the Facebook page. If you are a member of the Facebook page, feel free. But if you just want to follow me on Twitter for the updates, feel free. I will be posting my October TBR hopefully later in the week, or maybe, I don't know, if I feel up to it again this weekend, I might. But again, overall, that's all the books I read. I will see you guys in my next video. Mwah! Bye-bye.